Some time back we dealt with vulgar fractions as a topic. We now need to just move on and take that one tiny little step further, and this is going to be in two parts. The first part is converting a decimal fraction to a vulgar fraction. Before I go into that, we need to look at place value. Now, you already know what place value is, but I'm going to remind you of it because it's almost like going back to junior school. So let's have a look at that right now. Suppose I take the number 21.375. Each of these numbers has a value. If we ignore this for a moment, just deal with these, we know that this is 1, it's 1 unit is what we would call it. So that's a 1 unit. I'm about to make an error on this video, gents. I do apologise, but I've got to do a correction on it right now. I haven't got the time to re-record the entire video. So at this point, these are units, these are tens. So 2 tens would be 20, 3 tens would be 30. Tens. I erroneously said tenths. These are tenths. Down here, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So just back to the correction here, units and tens. That bit is correct. You're about to have an error on the video. Apologies. So units, tens, hundreds, etc. This is place value. What value does a digit have in its place in a number? So 21, 2 tens, 1 unit. Let's now look at the bits which are smaller than 1. And in this first column, this 3 is 3 tenths. So tenths. The next one is 10 times smaller. So this is hundredths. So tenths, hundredths, and the next one is going to be thousandths. I'll write that, it'll take me a while. Yes, there is such a word, thousandths. And the next one would be 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, millionths, etc. So now we understand about place value, we can consider looking at converting a decimal fraction into a vulgar fraction. Let's start with something quite straightforward. Let's consider the number 0.27. So in this number, we need to know the place value of each part. So this is 2 tenths and this is 7 hundredths. That's what we said here. So this is 7 hundredths. That is important that you recognize where the smallest digit is, because we can now write that as 27 over 100. And we've converted the decimal into a vulgar fraction. The key was understanding where the place value is of the smallest digit. So this is 7 hundredths, so we take the number and write it over 100. Let's consider a different example. Let's take 0.288. Just realised these numbers are quite close in value. It's purely random. I wasn't thinking of anything, but let's have a look at that. So if we consider the place value, the smallest digit is this one. So this is going to be in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths column. So our number could be written as 288 over 1000. So that is okay. However, this will simplify down. We can find a number that will divide into the top line and into the bottom line, and we cancel it until we make it smaller and smaller until it won't go any further. Let's have a look at doing that now. I can't think of a single number that will go into the top and the bottom that is a large number, but I do know that because they're both even, 2 will go in there. So 2 into 288 will give me 144. 2 into 1000 will give me 500. Once again, we've got an even number top, even number bottom. I can divide by 2 again. And 2 into 144 goes 72 times. 2 into 500 will go 250 times. Lo and behold, I've still ended up with an even number, and I can do it again. 2 into 72 is 36. 2 into 250 is 125. So I've cancelled this down 4 times. We now need to know, is there a number that will divide into 125 and into 36? And the short answer is no. So that's as small as our fraction will go. That's it, done. Okay, before I move on to the next step, remember your place values. So let's have a look at a few more different examples. Oops. So some simple things. 0.7. How could I rewrite that as a vulgar fraction? Well, take the known digit, it's in the tenths column. So we would forget this and we would write 7 over 10 because that's in the tenths column. We could pick other numbers. For example, 0.004. Okay, so we're going to write a number on the top and a number on the bottom. The number on the bottom is going to be, due to that, it's going to be tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So on the bottom, we want 1000. And on the top, we want 4. If you divide this by 4, in other words, we're cancelling, 4 into 1000 will give us 250. 4 into 4 is 1. So we've reduced that down. And we could carry on in that vein. So at that point, I've given you enough food for thought, and I'd like you to try the questions on your handout. And if all else fails, don't forget you can use your calculator in your exam.